As far as state history goes, Texas has one of the most interesting of the bunch. It has the second largest economy and population in America. It was a part of 6 different nations, one of which was the Republic of Texas, and it had its own revolution. The Texas Revolution birthed the state we all know today, and led to the eventual loss of half of Mexico's land. So that spurs the question, what if Texas lost its revolution? Well, before we answer this, we need to explore what the revolution was. Disclaimer, this video will not be like my standard alternate history videos, so you've been forewarned. To non-Texan Americans, the Texas Revolution is often remembered because of the Alamo, Davy Crockett and Texan rebels fighting to the last man against Santa Anna's armies, going down in American lore as a heroic last stand, yada yada. Texas, before being the Lone Star State, was a part of a newly independent Mexico. Texas was mostly unpopulated, with a few thousand Mexican Texans in 1825. The Mexicans were having difficulty fighting off raiding Comanche tribes, so to bring in help, Mexico loosened its immigration restrictions and allowed Americans to cross the border and buy up land. One of these Americans was Stephen F. Austin, who bought titles to large amount of Texas land and began colonies inside Mexico. By 1834, Anglo-Texans far outnumbered Mexicans, and this concerned Mexico, who then banned immigration from the United States. The cultural and racial differences between Anglos and Mexicans caused deep tension. This slowly split Texas from inside and with the rest of Mexico. In the 1830s, Mexico was going through a period of political turmoil following its own independence from Spain. During this time, Mexico was run by President and General Antonio López de Santa Anna. He left his vice president to do most of the governing until the vice president began implementing federalized liberal policies inside Mexico. Santa Anna became infuriated with his vice president. Santa Anna was a hardcore conservative and devout Catholic who wanted power in Mexico to be with an authoritarian government, not with the states. He dissolved Congress and Mexico fell into a military dictatorship. Across Mexico, numerous states rebelled, including Texas. On March 2, 1836, Texas declared independence from Mexico. After months of fighting, Santa Anna personally led an army to crush the rebellion. His forces defeated and massacred rebels, including Davy Crockett at the Battle of the Alamo. Their deaths inspired many across the revolution to keep on fighting. Sam Houston and his fighters went on the offensive, crying out "Remember the Alamo" at the Battle of San Jacinto. Santa Anna was soon captured, released, and sent back to Mexico City, where he had been overthrown in a coup. Texas won its independence and remained a lone nation for almost a decade before being annexed by the United States. This annexation was seen as an act of war by Mexico, who never recognized Texas sovereignty, and so the Mexican-American War began. So what if Texas lost its revolution? Well, here's an interesting to think about. It couldn't have. Realistically, Texas would have become an American state in any alternate scenario. Why? Manifest destiny. Texas, the Mexican-American War, and the expansion west were all a part of this one ideal. Manifest destiny was not a simple pioneer saying in the 19th century. It was an ideology that encompassed the United States. It was seen as a God-given right that Americans populate the continent, spread American culture, and have a vast nation from the Atlantic to Pacific. In the 1830s and 40s, this meant conquering or buying off land from the previous inhabitants. I was stuck on this for a while, making different scenarios, all with the same conclusion. America would have won no matter what. What if Mexico never allows settlers in the first place? United States still would have annexed it. What if Mexico crushed the rebellion? Another one would have came. What if Mexico could have held on to Texas? Too much of a cultural difference, another revolution would have happened. This is what this video is about. Sometimes in alternate history, things are inevitable. Every generation has an idea that permeates its thought, like manifest destiny. And that idea decides the politics and history of a nation. The United States was stronger and more stable than Mexico. Eventually, it would have taken that land. Santa Anna and the numerous coups left Mexico in a vulnerable position. It'd be inaccurate to think the United States wouldn't seize that opportunity. This gives us some perspective. What today is our generation's idea? Are some aspects of our culture just so ingrained, no matter what event occurs, a future result of that idea is still inevitable? Just some thought. I tried to have a scenario, but this video went down a different path, which is the interesting thing about alternate history. It gives us just some perspective of the event itself. Like us on Facebook and subscribe if you have not done so. This is Cody from the Alternate History Hub.